hooker with a heart of gold, prairie nymphs, soiled doves, sporting women, whores.
Prairie nymphs is very cute.
You're listening to The Oldest Profession. My name is Kaytlin Bailey. I worked as an hourly escort when I was in high school for no good goddamn reason. I was just super curious. And then when I needed money for the first time, I got into sugaring because I'm not stupid.
I'm Wendi Starling. I started selling my panties on the internet when I was 34. Then from there, made the very smart leap to sugaring at the ripe old age of close to 35. So I do that to help support comedy.
So every week on The Oldest Profession, I am going to tell a story about an old hoe that came before us because it's the oldest profession, so it's got to have a history, right? And all these bitches have really cool stories. So I'll be telling a story from a sex worker, whore, lady of the night, woman of ill repute, whatever you want to fucking call it, that came before us.
And you are listening to The Oldest Profession.
To The Oldest Profession.
You got to keep things spicy.
What's finger licking good? I mean, come on. Obviously, The Oldest Profession
has a history.
Welcome back. It's a 2-episode day.
It's a 2-episode day, and that's me rustling my plastic bag because I packed my own food because I'm not having food delivered on someone else's credit card, and I've never felt better.
It's like your own personal Vietnam. It's like your Uber goes away, and you're like, what? The struggle is real.
I know, and I'm already like back in the swing of things.
It's good.
It'll be fine, but yeah, no, I am so excited. This is like. It's a great day. You know,
I heard a quote that I think is good. Is like the price of a meaningful life is discomfort. Like a life spent avoiding discomfort is like a life wasted.
Yeah.
Right.
It's true.
All right, so let's get into
it.
And
that's a message for a lot of different things. I remind myself of that too. I try to be like, don't be a pleasure seeker. Whenever something shitty is going on in my life, like even this when the Uber thing happened, when I found out Saturday, I was like, what the fuck? My body started to shake, and I started to panic. And then I thought, okay, this sucks for you right now. So this is a fun thing to think about.
And you can acknowledge that, right? It can suck right now.
And I said this to you the other day when I think I said this to you maybe when I was on the phone with you in the treadmill. But what I do you can acknowledge when something happens and you're like, my world is falling apart. What the fuck is happening? Like, this is about just everything's awful. I look at it like, okay, but if I was watching a movie of this, if I was watching a movie of my life and this happened, I'd be like, oh shit, now what's going to, now this is interesting. It's exciting.
Things get good. Now, absolutely.
So, I mean, it's not always the most fun, but anytime, you're kicked out of a comfortable, that's when you are, like we talked about in the last episode, that's like, okay, now your survival is like, okay, now let's see what you're really capable of.
Now it's time to find out test your metal. What are you really made of?
Yeah.
Who are you actually?
Yeah, soldier.
Yeah.
And this is, all I'm describing is living like every other New Yorker.
Right, yeah, like literally every other person.
All I'm describing is not having $4,000 of disposable income to spend on having cars drive me around and people bring food to me.
You know what? It's all fucking relative. You know what? Yeah, absolutely. I like me personally, I'm really hoping that like Trey's bottom is just like some mild humiliating moments in public spaces, right? Like maybe his friends throw some side eye at him, and I hope that could just be bottom for him. I hope that we don't have to get to like homeless, lost job, no like
yeah.
Ugh.
Who knows?
Who knows?
It's all a big mystery until it happens.
So last episode we were talking about political organizing with sex workers, and today I want to talk about a political badass in terms of like sex worker leaders globally. I want to talk about Georgina Beyer, who in 1995 was elected as the first trans openly former sex worker mayor in New Zealand.
Really?
1995.
Holy shit.
Absolutely.
That's not that long ago, kiddos.
Not that long ago. She retired in 2007, but not before spending 8 terms on the New Zealand Parliament, which is sort of like our Congress.
Okay.
Right? So she was elected as a national leader. So she started off as a city mayor, and then in 1999 was elected to represent the country as a former sex worker, an openly trans person. Let's get into her story. So she was born in Australia in 1957, and we're doing a 2-episode day, so we didn't have time to get like into it, but it looks like her childhood was fairly chaotic.
Yeah.
Like she had a sibling who was adopted out of the household. Her mom was married several times, possibly some abuse. I don't want to make things up or do any disservice to her story.
I'll say it. I'm not a historian.
Yeah.
Everybody was beating the shit out of everybody else, and everyone was fucking everybody else, and no one was actually blood related, and that's why. And it was just so scary.
slippery facts brought to you by Wendi.
Slippery facts.
Slippery facts covered in vagina slime.
Yeah, exactly. Slippery facts. I'm charging 50 extra bucks for those facts.
So in 1957, she was born George Bertrand. And then started working as a trans sex worker as a young adult in Australia.
Okay.
And she was stripping and doing some survival sex work on the side as a trans person. She gets beaten up and robbed by 4 clients in the context of sex work. Again, I don't have a lot of details about that event.
Right.
I know that they exist. Other people have looked into it. But she has a traumatic and violent act happen, which occurs to too many sex workers, especially too many trans or otherwise marginalized sex workers. Right. So this is a moment where things change for her. She moves from Australia to New Zealand, which is a smaller country. Close. It's like they're like our Canada. You know what I mean? Like just like. Yeah, they're nicer, more polite people, fewer deadly animals,
Right.
So whatever. She moves to New Zealand, and she begins working as, I think, a sex worker, also as an actress, also as a radio host, and then becomes she gets a sex change operation in 1984.
Okay.
And then fast forward 11 years later, is when she becomes the mayor of New Zealand. No, I'm sorry. The mayor of a city in New Zealand.
Yeah,
it's a foreign country. I don't know all the details.
I love it.
Right, like it's
New Zealand. It's like our Canada. It's just one city.
right. Yeah,
It's
right.
just-
New Zealand, just one city, right?
Right.
It's an island, right?
Right.
Is it? I don't know. Is that part of the continent?
It's like our Canada.
Did Darwin do work that? I don't know what's happening.
I love it. We just blew our brains out on the last episode, and we're like, we got to learn about other people's cultures, other people's experience. And you're like,
Let me Google this real fast.
the city of New Zealand. As we sip our tea.
The city of New Zealand. Dumb American prostitutes mouth off in a vacuum of their own, held accountable by no one.
Yeah, she became a mayor of not America. Okay, next person.
Right. Anyway, do other countries even have mayors? What's happening?
Do you even need a mayor? I mean, if it's not New York City, fuck
What
it.
is happening? No, she's she's fucking great. And I think that since we were talking about sex worker activism here in the U.S. and the terrible bills that our dumb Congress is passing, we clearly don't have enough representation. Right. So
correct.
So I would
say, and I don't know much about politics at all. I'm going to venture to say we have 0 sex workers, 0 people who are openly former sex workers in office.
Absolutely. So I would say whether
I'm smart. I know
yes,
something.
that's true. Whether you're in and out, if you are an extrovert, right, and you like to read, consider running for office. Who knows? Maybe you'll fail. Maybe you won't. Maybe the world will change and open up and there'll be a whole world of funding and support for you. But especially if you live in liberal district, we need more sex workers in office. We need more trans people in office. We need more Native Americans in office.
Right.
We
had a few people elected. We had a few trans people elected in office in this last election here in America.
That happened. That was exciting.
So she gets elected as mayor of the great city of New Zealand.
The great city of New Zealand.
Google it. Figure it out yourselves. It's not a history show.
Mayor
We're
in
tired.
1995, representing New Zealand in Parliament in 1999.
There we go.
Yep, there we go.
There we go. So now, did she what's going on with the law? I mean, obviously they're pretty cool about
New
sex
Zealand,
workers' rights. What's going on?
The history of sex work in New Zealand's pretty interesting because starting in 1978, most prostitution was indoor prostitution was regulated through the Massage Parlors Act. That was basically if you can convince your local moms that you're a massage parlor, we'll let you do whatever you want. So you have to keep the facade of massage parlor, but indoor sex work can still happen, which is exactly what happened in Rhode Island after Coyote sued Rhode Island in the 1990s for gender discrimination.
Yes.
And functionally decriminalized indoor prostitution in Rhode Island for 30 years. It was just crazy. It was 1995 to 2015 or something. I
didn't realize that's how that happened.
Yeah, Coyote sued the smallest state for gender discrimination because both soliciting prostitution, so if you both being a prostitute and soliciting a prostitute were both the same crime, but they were arresting like 99% women who were soliciting men, and they were arresting not at all equitable numbers of men soliciting prostitution. Right. So they sued the state. The state Supreme Court was like, yeah, that's gender discrimination. Here, legislators of Rhode Island, you fix it. And then it took them 30 years to figure that how to write a more equitable law. Because we just want to punish uppity whores. That's all we want to do in this country. But so they were chill with it from 1978 forward, indoor prostitution. But then the real radical thing happened in 2003 with the Prostitution Reform Act. They decriminalized all forms of prostitution, including like living off the proceeds of a prostitute and like all of the shit that like Canada has, like where prostitution is technically legal, but everything around prostitution is criminalized.
What?
Right? Yeah. So like Canada was like, yeah, sure, you can be a prostitute, but you can't have anyone who is supported with the proceeds of prostitution. So you can't have like a live-in boyfriend. You can't have kids. You can't have friends. You can't have a roommate. You can't do security check. You can't work together. You can't. So all of this like bullshit laws.
You could be a sex worker and make all this money, but you can't spend it anywhere.
You can't spend it anywhere, and you can't have any friends. So it's like an abusive boyfriend. You can strip, but you can't have friends, and you have to do everything I say.
Right. So you have to take all your money that you get from being a sex worker, and you have to build a house
to the government
for yourself in the woods.
And no one can help you.
But you get free health care, huh? Who loves you?
Yeah, no, it's a real mixed bag. No, New Zealand
decriminalized. What if you convince your neighborhood moms that you're feeding your kids with other money?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a real hat trick. So you're going to need to multiple.
4 out of 5 moms agree this is a massage parlor. Can I buy my kids a sandwich?
And the other one works there. So, it's a... Everyone's trying to keep it under wraps.
That's crazy that they in Canada. I didn't realize that.
Oh, yeah, no. So Canada, I mean, like, they're ongoing court proceedings. But basically, it's an ongoing battle. But it's one of those things where, like, efforts of civilians to regulate prostitution based on their dumb ideas about what they think prostitution is, right? Because they're like, we want to stop violent pimps. And the best way to do that is to make it illegal to live off the proceeds of prostitution, which is what pimps do. And I'm like, right, but it's also what children of prostitutes do. So like, what are you doing?
So the best way to do this is to make sure that we let sex workers know, hey, you can make money, but you can't spend it on anyone but yourself. Which, if you already have a hard time making friends, if you're walking around in mink fur coats and you can't kick your friend down a cup of coffee, you're not gonna have that friend for very long.
Yeah, exactly. It is legally reprehensible. But the Prostitution Reform Act 2003 decriminalizes prostitution in New Zealand, which opens up really exciting things. And like, I'm sure Georgina was like a huge part of that effort, because even after she retired in 2007, she stayed a huge like LGBTQ and also sex worker rights like advocate and activist. And I think just having that voice on a congressional level, like a parliament level, of just being like, nope, I did sex work and I'm a person. You can't tell me what sex work is because I've experienced it, so you don't get to mansplain exploitation to me, is a huge thing of just being at the table to call bullshit when bullshit is presented. Right. Like this SESTA fight that we've been talking about, we've gotten emails. Like I called my senators. You should too. Even though it's already done, just call them to yell at them and tell them that they passed a dumb bill. But the response that we've been getting from senators to like emails is, we really think this is going to help victims. And it's that kind of thinking, that magical thinking based on myths and misinformation, that ends up being the root cause of so much of the harm that's done to populations that legislators try to legislate without fully understanding. Right. And like, it's true of sex workers, it's true of impoverished communities, it's true of migrant communities. It's like the problem is thinking that you know best when you actually don't know shit.
Right. Yeah. And so now here's what's interesting. So like, it's so crazy to me. Now, what is the difference? And this may be a dumb question, but we didn't really talk about this in the last episode, and I want to understand this. Yep. What is the difference between decriminalization and legalization?
That's a really good question.
Because I know I would love to get into it.
The short answer is that it's the difference between New Zealand and Nevada. Right? So like Nevada is an example of legalization, right? Where, and decriminalization is, so decriminalization basically means we are no longer going to arrest, penalize people for doing this activity, but we're not going to write a bunch of special laws about that industry, right? Whereas legalization means we might still be arresting people for doing this activity because we've written a bunch of special laws targeting them. So like, for example, in Nevada, it's the only place in the U.S. with legal prostitution, and it also has the highest arrest rate per capita for prostitution.
Okay.
Because if you work outside of the brothels, you're committing a crime. So if you're not willing to work a 12-hour shift and give half your money to a brothel and register with the local sheriff and do an STD test every 2 weeks and service any fucking John that walks through the door based on that house's rules, then you can't work legally in Nevada.
Okay.
Whereas in New Zealand, you can work at a massage parlor, or you can work out of your apartment. It's kind of up to you. You get to decide what to do. So it's a matter of power and control. Right. And so what I'm worried about as a amateur historian and like, you know, professional pissant, basically.
And is, to be fair, a human being that has a vagina attached to their body.
Yeah, exactly. With a tattoo on it. I am concerned that if we as a like surveillance police state in America succeed in achieving legalized prostitution, that it's actually going to be worse for whores wall to wall. It's especially going to be worse for undocumented people. It's going to be especially worse for like marginalized people, right? You're talking like trans people of color. They're just going to be force fed into the like McDonaldization of sex work, basically. And so like we need to really get our shit together as a community and ask ourselves what we're fucking fighting for. Because if we end up with a legalized system with all the pre-existing whorephobia, racism, right, transphobia, then we might be really setting ourselves up for a worse future.
Yeah, and that's something that I'm glad I want to talk about this because and you know, the last episode we got a fire under our cunts, and as we should.
Cunt fires.
So yes. Raging cunt fires.
Raging cunt fires.
I thought that was burning toast. I'm sorry, I just haven't shaved. So because here's the thing, that I wanted to get a clear difference because I think that when people hear, because some people that are they're very hip to it and they understand the difference between, but then other people, even sex workers, they're like, legalize it, and they think it's the same. But so there's a difference, and here's a difference. So when I was, here's a nice analogy, and this so it's the same as like when I was a personal trainer, and I worked for a gym, and I also worked for myself. When I worked for a gym, you had to be there for a certain amount of hours. You had quotas you had to fill. You had to hit certain sales targets.
Yep.
You had to be like, okay, you need to talk to 6 people a day, bring them in, give them you
have a manager, you have a boss that tells you what you can and can't fucking do.
Yep. And you're getting a portion of that. And you're working crazy hours. And I was like, wait a minute. I've got 10 really good clients that love me and I love them. And so instead, I took another couple of my trainers and we went rogue.
Yep.
And we got a gym facility and the 4 of us, and we had our clients, and the clients were able to pay less money.
Yeah, and you were getting more of it. They were paying less and you were still getting more.
Yes. And so that is the analogy. It's a very simple analogy for anyone who didn't, if it wasn't clear already, the big difference.
So we see this being played out in front of our eyes with the process that marijuana legalization is going through.
Yes.
Right? So like it's really exciting news. We're no longer arresting people for having like a little I buy pot all the time and I don't know the metrics. Is it grams?
It's
I don't know. Eighth. Okay, great.
And I don't even like weed.
I don't know.
I smoke weed once in the whole year.
I'm just bad at fractions and math. Like I don't know.
Well, it's because you're smoking too much weed, Kaytlin.
Well, there you go. That's the answer. So, So it's great that we're no longer arresting people for pot, but like you look at all of the black and brown entrepreneurs that are currently sitting in jail that were running like real pot distributing stuff.
Yes.
Are they getting the capital to open up these like cute places to sell weed with their licensing and business stuff? No. It's rich white dudes that are getting capital to start these businesses. And what are those businesses investing in? They're investing in lobbying money so that they can write laws that prohibit competition. They don't want to be competing with the underground economy that already exists around
that
this
already
product.
knows how the fuck to do it, baby.
Exactly.
We already know how to do it.
Right. So it's like, so I don't want to see that future for sex work, right? So I absolutely want to stop putting people in jail for doing what the fuck they want with their bodies. But there are bigger questions at stake of like, how does that look like and how does it operate? Because it has real world implications. Another legal model that's been floated around the world and sounds like a really good idea to the dumb kind of feminists is the Nordic model. Or the
where everybody's tall and white,
right? Yeah. When you have homogenous cultures, and maybe it's the Swedish one. It's the end demand model where they criminalize soliciting prostitutes instead of so you can sell sex if you want to,
okay,
but if you're caught trying to buy it, we'll put you in jail. And it's like this doesn't work great for sex workers.
No,
because all it does is make it harder to screen your clients who are terrified all of the time now. Right. So like you think about all of the shit like seeking arrangements. I know that when I was doing hourly escort work, I used an internet forum to screen my clients. I asked them for their real name. I asked them where they worked. I asked them for industry references.
Right.
And that was like the industry standard, because everyone else was doing it. It's just like, this is what you do. Right. But if cops are posing as sex workers.
Oh yeah. They want all that same information.
And just straight up. Right. Yeah, absolutely. So it becomes harder to screen.
Yep.
Which is exactly what this Stop Enabling Sex Trafficking Act. SESTA. So the SESTA bill.
That is literally the only thing I wrote on this notebook. That
fantastic!
SESTA.
You're taking the only notes that matter, Wendi. It's gonna have the same impact in that it's just gonna make it harder for sex workers to keep themselves safe.
Yes.
That they've been building this like internet infrastructure to try to support each other and end up with fewer fucking dead hookers. And this bill is gonna rip all of that infrastructure away from us and send us back out into like the wild west of violent sex work. And because the wild west was actually great for sex workers, as we've talked about already on our podcast.
Yeah. Go back and listen to a couple episodes.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing too, and this is something that like to talk about like with Georgina and what we've talked about in the last episode, and there are a few people, here's what's scary. And like you and I are in a place of privilege where we can come out and we can talk about this, right?
Yeah.
But or so many people, and this is what's going to make it more difficult, because people are so afraid to come out of the shadows and talk about it because they're afraid they're going to be arrested.
The optimist in me thinks that sex workers are at where gay people were in like the 1950s and 60s. Right? Where it's like the risk of coming out of the closet are so great that like you could ruin your life. Absolutely. But you fast forward 40 years and like you can just come out in middle school and it's depending, you know, like it's fine. So I believe that if sex workers come out, like, which was like Harvey Milk's call to action when he became mayor of San Francisco, like come out of the closet, we might be able to change society. And also I can't advocate for that because people might die, and that wasn't my situation. That wasn't my story.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it's kind of a strange thing. So you look at someone like Georgina, and if you are in a place or you're in a country, in some place where it's decriminalized and it's okay to come out and then, you know, and run for office, or even if you're a former sex worker and you were doing it, like, but anything you can go public.
Yeah, I bet $1,000 if you contacted Swap USA or any sex worker rights advocacy group and you say, hey, so I'm running for city council and obviously I don't want to make this public, but I used to be a sex worker and I'm on board for all of your stuff. Obviously, we're going to be campaigning on like, I don't want to make this like a campaign issue, but like, psst, tell your whore friends to vote for me. I think we could figure that out. We've been an underground industry network for a minute now.
Right.
So
and the other thing is once somebody's in office, they're in
office.
Right. And to talk about it in a way, even with like the Maya Angelou stuff, she's a respected author.
Yes.
I think the more that whatever position you're in, even if you're not doing it anymore,
civil rights advocate, poet, spokes. Yeah. She was a respected bajillion things.
Yeah. She was, and like, But you can come out and be like, I was a sex worker, or I have done this, and not have shame, and not, because that will help. That just helps to normalize it.
Yeah, I think that the using your privilege to come out if you can, which I think is like a good way of framing what we're doing. I mean, obviously we have to do better and work on ourselves and stuff, but like you and I are out, and that is not without risk. Like me and Trey are sitting down now, and we were talking about, I really want a prenup. Which he doesn't think makes a lot of sense because he has more money than I do.
I was going to say, a prenup.
Right? I know. I'm the one advocating for
Trey, I've got these sick earbuds. I got the wireless earbuds.
What am I bringing to the table? Well, I have this one framed picture of my grandma that means a lot to me, and a couple of duffel bags, and that one mink I inherited. But anyway, I want a prenup because I want in writing contractually that no matter what society says, he knows about my history as a sex worker, and he knows about my choice to talk about it publicly. And so I don't want there to be a future where, you know, I've seen marriages go toxic. I don't want him to have the ability to take my children away from me, because I've seen that happen to girlfriends of mine that, you know, were either out with their sex work publicly or just out with their life partner that they were co-parenting with. And shit gets bad and feelings get harsh, and they're able to use sex. I know one girl whose alcoholic, physically abusive ex got custody of her children because she was a stripper, which is a legal thing. And then he ended up killing one of her kids.
Shut the fuck
that's
up.
Shit. Yeah, that's how powerful whorephobia is.
I don't understand. I mean, and I get, but it just is crazy that people are so freaked out about like a bitch being smart enough to get paid to use something that people are trying to get at anyway. I mean, fucking Jesus.
I think it's like the lack of dependency on one dude. The violation of this model of like every guy gets their own goddess person to live in their house. Whatever. Ugh.
Yeah, no, that's terrifying. That's one. It's a weird. It's so fucking bizarre too. I had a guy with even writing the article, and especially with the SESTA Act. Well, what's scary about that is if that does pass. I mean, that's you and I.
Yeah.
That like we're implicated in that we could be
possibly. I would like to reach out to an attorney and like really push that First Amendment thing and like the stuff. But it's there's definitely a way to frame this podcast as supporting, promoting prostitution,
right?
And like
even if it's just like emotionally supporting and like giving information and giving resources.
Yeah, how many books have been published in the last couple of years that could be banned based on this dumb law?
Yeah. And it's scary. I had a guy that I hooked up with a couple times, and because the podcast and like this is out, and then I wrote that article for Women's Health it was like a year ago now. We used to hook up in LA. Well, hooked up a couple times, and he's hot, and then he was coming to New York, and he was like, hey, I'm in New York, something, and I saw, and I was like, oh, if you want to like get coffee, like hang out, because we're like. Whenever we'd go back and forth to LA, New York, we'd always get coffee or hang out. Sometimes hook up, sometimes just not. Yeah. But he responded to me, to my text. He goes, no thanks, I'm good. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I thought it was very strange. He goes, yeah, I'm not. I just.
I don't associate with whores.
Yeah, what he said was, he goes, no, I'm good. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then his next text, he goes, yeah, I don't think we should hook up anymore. Aren't you like a professional gold digger now?
Wow.
That was his response to me. And that's not my parent. That's someone that I kind of casually hooked up with a couple times.
Right. You were like, oh, okay. So you want to turn down this free sex because sometimes I charge for I mean, sure. I mean, like we all get to come up with our own boundaries, I guess. Yeah. Bro.
And I mean, honestly, even with this podcast, sometimes when we started, I was like, how much do I want to talk about? Like, this is crazy. Because it is, because my parents see this stuff, you know? And you have like...
No, this is a hard conversation to have with yourself. And it's an ongoing thing. It's like, I don't know all of the consequences from having come out as a sex worker yet, because life is long and I don't know what the future looks like. It's very possible with the passage of this SESTA bill and Trump in office that we look at a draconian future where sex workers are like even more aggressively targeted than they are now.
Is that now? Draconian is different. Oh, I was thinking Dracula.
No, not Dracula.
Well, the sex workers are vampires. I'm like, cool, we live forever.
Yeah. Off the blood of the innocent. This episode is sponsored by Velvet Swing, which is a cannabis-enhanced lube that is very nice.
Ooh.
You should follow the founder. This is a whore-owned and operated business.
Okay.
Mistress Matisse on Twitter. So buying this product supports not just your own sex life, but also the sex worker rights movement. Mistress Matisse is a big deal.
Thank you, Mistress.
Yes, you can follow Mistress Matisse at Mistress, Mistress, Matisse, Matisse.
Yeah, you know why I feel so good? Because while you were in the kitchen about 10 minutes ago before we recorded this, I took the cannabis lube and I jammed it in my butthole. I'll tell you, not the thing.
How do you feel?
Amazing.
Right? You feel relaxed?
I feel my butthole feels great.
Your butthole feels relaxed?
Oh my God, I didn't even think about this. This would be great for anal.
Of course. Yeah, you can't overestimate the importance of a relaxed butthole.
I love anal already. I'm going to be squirting all over the wall if I put some... Okay, now I do want to wrap this because I want to go get fucked.
Velvet Swing, so you can get high while getting down.
That would be great. No, we could do... Oh my God. Vampires are so sexy to me.
They are so
Vampires are so fucking hot.
Interview with a Vampire is one of the sexiest books I've ever read. It leaves that Twilight teen girl shit in the fucking dark.
Twilight can't get out of town.
Twilight can just fucking huff it.
Interview with the Vampire
So hot.
is to Twilight as the story of O is to 50 Shades of Grey.
Yes.
Story of O is one of my favorite fucking goddamn books.
Yeah, it's so good. Speaking of literotica.
Oh my God, can I tell you this?
Yes.
So, because I feel like the last episode and the first part of this, and we're being serious, but can I just say this is something fun? So
Yeah.
I'm going to Turks and Caicos. Mm-hmm. And then we have now planned a trip to Vancouver.
Ooh.
I'm going to try to book gigs there. It's in April.
Yeah. There's a great show. I can hook you up with a Vancouver, Canada?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a great show.
Vancouver, New Zealand. Whatever, same thing.
Oh, the city of New Zealand?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. But we were talking and like, he's a very nice kind of vanilla guy, but he's getting more into like this BDSM thing, like a little bit, which I like. And so the vacation, but yet he's going to be there and he's there for a conference. And he's like, yeah, he goes, I'll let you go shopping, stuff like that. But then when I come back, I want you there. So he's like, I just want you to just be like my sex toy that stays there.
Sure.
I'm so excited. So I'm
long
like,
as he's paying for that service, that's fine.
yes. And so I'm trying to get him to like, so I'm like, we're getting into this like role play thing. So we're going to.
Yeah, but that's an hourly rate thing. That's a plane ticket does not buy subservience unless I am also turned on by that, which I happen to be. So,
right.
That works out sometimes.
Well, and this is so, and again, loopholes and everything. Now, this is someone that I am dating. Mm-hmm. And then what I did when he was like, do you want to go away to Vancouver? It was a very recent trip that we're planning. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, I'm already going away with you for 4 days to
That's
Turks.
a lot of time off work.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm going to be missing like a lot, Do you know how many free podcasts I could record in this? Right.
Yeah, we got to record 2 episodes today because you're on vacation. That could be who knows how much money.
You know what? I'm not making money, but you know what I'm doing? I am losing sleep.
You're right.
And my health is priceless. So, So he's like, well, I want you to come with me and I think it'll be fun. But so we're planning this. Oh yeah, we got but he's older, but he had a couple glasses of wine the other night and he was talking all kinds of shit. And I was into it, like some vampire, like some story of O shit.
Yes.
And he said something. He's like, darling, can I come on your face? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, all this crazy shit. And he's like, I'm like, and then you're gonna feed me make me eat with cum on my face. And he's like, oh, you'll be lucky if I feed you. I'm going to lock you up and the only thing you're going to be able to eat is my cum and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, Jesus Christ, you've been practicing somewhere, not for me.
Ooh.
So he's studying and I'm so proud of him. But I am going to make him donate to my personal Patreon.
Perfect. Fantastic. Donate to the show.
I know. Speaking of which, we got an email from a guy named David, I believe. Mm-hmm. And
he was specifically asking about the decriminalization versus legalization thing, which is a really good question. And then what was the other question that he asked you? Did you pull the email up?
Let me pull this up. We got David. Let's put some music in here.
While you're doing that, speaking of like transphobia and how it manifests in terms of like law enforcement, especially since we live increasingly, I think, in a police state. Our friend of the show, Cayenne, I've been going to court with her and there have been several protests. She came home from a night hanging out, and her ex-boyfriend was sitting in her house and beat the shit out of her.
Holy.
To the point where he took a knife through a cake pan that she had that she was trying to shield herself with, right? There was a fucking cake pan. And when the police showed up, they arrested her because they were grossed out by the he, she, it thing, unquote, the cops. And they were commiserating with him while he was like going on this like transphobic fucking rant, right? And so the police, and it's so funny because like both of the, Cayenne's been in and out of jail a couple of times, and so has her abusive ex. And all of his shit is like assault and battery, stalking, drunk and disorderly, restraining order, drunk and disorderly. And all of her shit is like solicitation and possession. And it's like the cops showed up, and it's like, which one of these people do you think was a violent and belligerent person?
Right.
Do you think it's the person that has sometimes had sex for money and sometimes done drugs? Or do you think it's the person that's been arrested 9 times for beating the shit out of other women?
Yeah.
What do you think's more likely?
And they're like, well, this lady has a dingy ding.
Yeah, this lady has something makes me uncomfortable, so we should put her in jail.
I think maybe this girl was born with a weenus. We should take her to jail.
Ew, that's way worse than beating up women. It's fucking, man, it makes me so
It's
crazy.
the same, and not to go back to this, and I forget if it was this episode or the last one, but email us and tell us. I'm kidding, don't email us. I don't. Whatever. But it's the same with Facebook, and you think it's not a big thing, but it's how things are overwhelmingly tipped in men's favor, and there's so many things that like women will write men are scum, and all that kind of stuff, and like men should all die, and it's like stuff like that.
Yeah, Marcia Belsky's gotten banned like 6 times. She's a fucking feminist hero on Facebook right now.
Yeah, go to Marcia Belsky stuff. Like so Marcia Belsky is on social media. And
no, it's not. It's not pronounced Marcia.
No,
that's not.
No, it's Marcia.
I can't pronounce. I think it should be a fan of the show should go through every mispronunciation of every historic figure we've ever done. I can't do it.
It's an idiot because you're very smart.
I'm a reader. I'm not. I don't.
You're not a reader out louder.
I'm not a reader out louder.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
See, and I'm neither. I'm neither a reader nor a reader out louder because I'm pretty sure reader out louder is not a term.
Oh, but like
It's Marcia Belsky. But Marcia's great. But she does Facebook. If you're a woman and you put that men are scum and men should and all this. They will block you like instantly. They take the post down and they ban you from Facebook, and they're like, this has been removed for our standards. And then they have a follow-up post of a dude
threatening to rape women with a knife.
Yeah, and being like, women are scum, and then threatening to rape women, and all this like horrific stuff.
Yeah.
And then Marcia will report them, or other women will report them.
Yep.
And Facebook responds to that report with,
we need more information.
Yeah, well, so
we need more contact.
Yeah, so like we looked over, and I know you're offended, but like it doesn't it
rise to the standard of like we just don't want to censor anyone. That's hard. So like innocent until proven guilty. That's our standard. If you're a dude,
and that's the way the law works. And I probably have told this on the
God.
I probably have told this on this podcast, and so forgive me if I'm repeating myself, but when I was being aggressively stalked and I had all kinds of evidence, and I went to the cops and I go, I have evidence, he's voice evidence and all this stuff, and their response was, they were like, this is really scary, we have to wait until he assaults you.
Yeah. What if you survive the first attack, come back and we'd be happy to do something about it.
It's crazy. And so that's even in a situation like this where Cayenne is like being violently assaulted. They're just like, not only is she a woman, she's a trans woman, and a trans woman of color, and a sex worker.
Right.
So like,
so she's got no help. Except, she is a sex worker activist who has surrounded herself with like powerful voices. But it's like, even when we went to court with her, like she was trying to, so he filed a restraining order against her, and she, after the initial court date, needed to file a restraining order against him because it would be really, without that, it would be really easy for him to like go to her house and hang out there and then have her arrested, right?
Yep.
And because she has, but if it's reciprocal, then like at least the paperwork is there. She went in to do that, and like the clerk was like not gonna talk to her until her longtime cis white friend, who is also an attorney, like spoke up for her and was like, excuse me, I'm with her. Right. But they were like fully prepared to basically be like, nope, there's no way for us to like do that paperwork for you, or like, nope, you just don't have fucking rights. And then it's like, oh, you have a white lady friend who might file a complaint that knows what she's fucking talking about. Well, then, maybe we can help you now. And it was like, just to see it like that fucking blatant.
Yeah.
It's ugh.
Yeah. And that's why, and that's what we were talking about in the last episode. And even this one, something like with Georgina, if you are in a position to speak up and be a voice for the other sex workers that cannot raise their voice or raise their hand because they're going to be attacked and thrown in jail.
Yep.
So these are just examples.
Go make friends with marginalized people and throw yourself in front of the system for that.
And help them.
It's easier. It's like, because sometimes you can be heard in places where you need to elevate their voice.
Right. Well, there was even the story of it was Jessica Chastain.
Yeah.
Was in a movie with Octavia Spencer. Jessica Chastain is a white bitch with red hair. Octavia Spencer is a black woman.
Yeah.
They're both great actresses. I'm talking about women helping women.
Yep.
And she found out how little Octavia was getting paid for the movie.
Yeah.
And Octavia's won a fucking Oscar.
Yeah.
And so Jessica went to the producers, and she was like, yo, why is she making less? And so they bumped Octavia's pay up. And so it was like, so that kind of shit.
That's an example of great allyship. Yeah.
And so we in the sex worker community, we need to be helping each other out, because this is not and that's terrible, but this is, this is not like, a difference in $20,000. This is like someone going to jail.
Yes. Yeah.
Versus having the freedom to live their life.
Yeah. And and this is just one example of a long line of police officers or like the government, the man generally going after people that make noise. Right. So like, Cayenne got into the shitty situation. Her abusive ex is like a nightmare. And also, it's not difficult for me to imagine that because Cayenne is a powerful advocate and powerful activist who is like actively working to make trans sex workers of color's life better, that she's being targeted in some way or being made an example of.
Yep.
And it's one of those important moments of like showing up. I just wanted to show up in court and like make sure like the judge and the arresting officer or whatever of like bitches that blog are witnessing this,
right?
Like the eyes of the world are watching kind of thing,
right?
And if that's all we can do, that's all we can do.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. They'll take someone and be like, all right, anyone else want to mouth off?
Right.
And so we have to just protect each other from that. So I pulled up David's email. David, he just said, congratulations, we're the best. Thank you. He told us the Maya Angelou people used to send anything up to 50 pounds could be sent through the mail. So she was mailed to her parents.
Wow. I thought she was just put on a train with a note. You know what, Maya Angelou is the best source of information for information about Maya Angelou's life.
I was like, I don't remember her
being sent in the mail. I remember her being sent on a train when she was like 3 for like 3 days or something.
Yeah, so I don't think that was in a box with holes in it, but who knows? And then he asked about SA. He talked about the forum boards.
Yep.
And he talked about the reviews forum boards. Where are those on SA, or is that mostly? That's not really on SA.
The forums. Everything shifts and changes because time, but it's there aren't review boards on SA because SA Seeking Arrangements likes to pretend that it's not that's not for sex workers,
right?
And so like some of the sugar babies on there also internalize that like whorephobia, but like the website itself is trying to occupy this legal space where they're like, we're not doing that, so they don't have some of that other stuff. But like mutual reviews like with Airbnb, I think are a good way to keep people safe. And also they're a way that clients can sometimes abuse sex workers, because it's like, if you don't blow me without a condom, if you don't extend this time, if you don't like insert request that the sex worker doesn't want to do here,
right,
then I'll leave you a bad review.
Right.
Or we've seen examples on websites of clients getting together if a sex worker is asking for more money than they think is acceptable, and just like trying to blackball her and punish her for her uppityness, basically, by like leaving fake bad reviews. So it's not a perfect system, but reviews tend to be for like explicit sex worker stuff and is not a feature of Seeking Arrangements. Next question.
Good job.
Boom.
Yeah, it was like the only thing I see on SA, I'll just get random emails sometime where it's like, do you want to go to the Sugar Baby conference? I'm like, I'm all set.
Right. Yeah. No, thank you.
I mean, and it's fine if you want to do that, but it just seems to me like, I'm like, I don't feel like that would be like, that would be women supporting women.
Yeah, no, that's just no.
That's a sting operation. Good Good try, cops.
That's a hard sell atmosphere is what it is. So it's like they're creating the atmosphere of a strip club, which like honestly, if you can hustle like that, fucking go for it. I know myself well enough to know that is not for me.
That's why I like and David's last question was to explain the difference between legalization and decriminalization.
I hope we answered all your questions. Please let us know.
That's why I like the decriminalization thing, because I'm not good into high pressure sales. That's why I left my own. Look, I'm a very niche market.
Yep.
A couple people might like spend time with me.
Yeah.
Most people don't.
Yeah. Same.
But yeah, so thank you, David, for writing us. And he said, I will check out your Patroness. ?
It's definitely Patreon, and we will email you the link that you need. We will email that back to you to make that easy. For those of you that know how to use the internet, it's patreon.com/oldpro. Please give us money to support. If you're a fan of the show, throw us a couple of bucks. You get access to all this cool special content.
Ooh, what would be fun is if we get enough money, we should do like an Uber level where we can take Ubers, and then part of that content is you and I taking Ubers places and having uncomfortable conversation with drivers.
Oh yeah, that sounds fun for no one, but
it'd be fun for the driver. I'm just trying to get back in the car. The first
episode is just us dying in a fiery crash, and like somehow Mary ends up figuring out how to upload it because she's a fucking genius.
Yeah. No, my last Uber ride. He was asking me all kinds of crazy questions like I was in a podcast. He asked me what I thought the meaning of life was, and I was like, I think it is for me to try to get rest, and that means you shutting the fuck up.
Yep. One of the best conversations. I feel like I'm gonna miss taxi cab drivers when they're gone. Right, when it's just like a robot driver that picks you up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss it because like cab drivers have saved my fucking life a couple of times in this city when like my debit card's been fucked up or canceled, or I had one cab driver pick me up because I didn't realize that avenues were so long, and so I walked like 8 avenues in heels to a job interview because I'd been in the city for 36 hours or something,
Right, and you're like, 8 blocks, I can do it. Oh, 8 avenues.
8 avenues. Oh shit, in July, this is over for me. My feet don't work no more.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm going to miss cab drivers when they're gone, but I had a great conversation with a guy because Trey and I are thinking about marriage, and the only way that I know how to process my feelings about an issue is just talk to strangers about it. Like just ask literally everyone.
Yeah.
And he said, what's important about being married to someone is your just ability to like cuddle and eat food together. And like you guys can be smart, you guys can have like shared values, like all of that shit, but really it comes down to being able to like be physically close and break bread, and like everything else is just an overcomplication. And I don't know if he's right or wrong. I don't know how much life advice you want to be taking from the cab drivers of New York, but it felt true in the moment.
That's very sweet. Well, if that's true, then I already know that I'm going to go ahead and
wife.
I'm going to marry my cat, because all we do is lay around and eat out of the same can of tuna.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, maybe, I don't know. Sometimes I fantasize about being a house pet, and then I realize that it wouldn't take long for me to set the house on fire. Like I'm not really cut out for that.
No, if you were my pet, I'd take out your claws. I would declaw you. You would have no opposable thumbs.
That's I think that's how it's gonna have to work.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh man. All right. This is great.
This was
great.
Feel good? Yeah, I do feel good. Georgina's a hero.
Georgina's great.
Sex workers should run for office.
Yes, absolutely.
And give us money. Are there any other call to actions you want to do?
No. Other than that, go back and listen to the rest of the episodes if you haven't listened. And
email us. We love getting your emails. And we should talk about the next Old Pro show. Is going to be at the Soho Playhouse, April 18th.
Yes.
We think at 8 p.m., but we're not sure. We'll keep you posted. We don't have ticket links up yet, but put it in your calendars anyway. It's going to happen.
And when we get those links up, we'll tweet it out. So follow us on social media, Old Pro Podcast. That's on Twitter and Instagram. Mm-hmm. My Twitter is at Wendi Starling. Instagram at WendyBird82.
I'm Kaytlin Bailey on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of it. And again, for some really cool Patreon content, I think my favorite is Cuntmaster Theater.
I love Cuntmaster Theater. And here's the deal. We're recording double episodes, and this. Go back and listen. I may not be the most focused. I got a vacation to go on. So I've been eating like celery and doing weird detox shit. So I'm just trying to melt everything out of my body before I go lay on a beach.
Everyone's doing their best.
I know. God damn it.
Thank you so much for listening. This has been
The Oldest Profession.